Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's Candidate Coffee with the Adams County Commissioner District 2 candidates, Marvin Clements, John Rostvet, and Hannah Miller. First of all, thanks, candidates, for attending and being willing to share your time with us today, and to all of you that have come out to listen to their comment. Today, we're sponsored by Troy Davis and Roast Coffee, so if you haven't, there is coffee in the back, and get yourselves caffeinated this morning. We appreciate having some great options for elected seats at the city and county level and District 33 as well, legislative district. So we thought it was great to bring the candidates to you and also have an opportunity for these events to be recorded so that they'll be able to be watched later for those not able to attend. The Chamber of Commerce, Hastings Economic Development Corporation, the Government Affairs Committee, and staff members have worked together to prepare questions that'll be asked of the candidates today. Following the prepared questions, we hope that you do stay around, have conversation with the individuals that are here. So to help run the event smoothly and get to all the questions and then more discussion time, we have a few ground rules. Please turn your cell phones to silent. If you need to take a call, please step outside with that conversation. And we also ask that the audience refrain from discussion while the moderator or candidates are speaking so that we can be productive with our time again and get through all that we want to today. So with that, I'd like to introduce Chris Shookguy, who's going to be our moderator.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome, candidates. Thank you for being here. As mentioned, we have a series of questions for you this morning. We will rotate who gets to go first, and I will call that out for you. You will want to keep an eye on Jamie because she will be the timekeeper for you this morning. You have 2 minutes for each question. When you get to 1:45-ish, she'll hold up a yellow card for you. That means you have about 15 seconds left. When the red card comes up, wrap it up. I'll try to let you finish a thought, but I will interrupt if it kind of keeps going past where the red card is. Having said that, we will get ourselves started. We'll go kind of from left to right here for the first question. So Marvin, we'll start with you. And the first question is, please introduce yourself to the audience and tell us what previous community involvement you have had.
Good morning. My name is Marvin Clements. I live over in Juniata with my wife. And previous experience, I've been on the Village of Juniata Board of Trustees, served 2 terms. 6 years of those, I was the chairperson. Ran for that office kind of as a education. I would sit in the audience and go, why are they doing this? And so I put my name on the ballot, and my friends and neighbors put me there, and it was a great learning lesson. I'd like to take those lessons learned and move on to the kind of the next level, the county level, and offer my new ideas. And so that's what brought me here.
Thank you very much. John, introduce yourself and tell us about your community involvement.
First of all, I'm John Rostvet. I'm not quite a lifelong. I was actually born in Louisiana, moved here as a young child, was blessed to live on a family farm near Air, Nebraska. Have a wife of 36 years, 5 children, 2 grandchildren. I mentioned Louisiana and being 56. I would want to be clear that those are important, but that's not what defines who I am. I think what defines who I am are, first of all, faith. The opportunity that I had to grow up on a family farm is huge in who I am today. Living and working in Adams County most of my life is a really important part of that. I have a hope and a dream for Adams County that would include next generation's children. That's really the reason that I'm running, is I'm worried about what our future looks like for our grandchildren and our children. I want it to be as bright and as great in Adams County as it was when I was growing up. As far as community involvement, most of what I've served up to this point has been within a local church, served on elder boards, building committees, property committees, mostly things that I was qualified for. My wife and I have also been involved in youth ministry for a period of time. We've stepped away from that now. We're actually involved now with like a mentoring program with young adults, Sunday school, that type of thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hannah, introduce yourself. Tell us about your community involvement.
Yeah, my name is Hannah Miller. Before I begin, I'd like to thank the Chamber and ATDC for hosting this event. It's great when everyone can come together. And thank you for everyone who's made it here this morning and spending your Friday morning with us. Instead of telling you about how great my husband is and how long we've been married or how about our successful business that we built from scratch, I wanted to just tell you about where I came from and the people who have influenced my life. I was born and raised in Connecticut. My dad was a lobsterman and owned a bait and tackle shop. I remember being 5 years old and working as register. And I learned the importance of making sure the books were balanced at the end of the day, and I have fond memories of fishing with him, which he actually called his research and development, so we did that a lot. I've spent every January and sometimes February, if I was lucky, at our family farm in Georgia. I learned about conservation and the importance of treating all people as humans, which wasn't really a popular opinion in South Georgia when my great-grandparents purchased that land. Time spent there was spent on horseback hunting and learning about land management. And not to toot my own horn, but I would say I'm an accomplished businesswoman, and it's almost all male-dominated industry. And it's taught me how to overcome adversity and to make friends with people who may not share the same viewpoints that I do. And yes, I have an undergraduate degree in environmental studies and urban and regional planning, and yes, I have a master's in communication. But I am who I am because of my experiences and because of the examples of strong men and women in my family. Great leaders who understood the value of listening, who had the courage to stand up for injustice, and who knew how to effect positive change by diplomacy. If you elect me as your county commissioner, I promise to do everything I have learned to make meaningful, realistic change for District 2.
Thank you very much. We'll start with John on this question. If elected, what are your priorities for Adams County?
First of all, I mentioned a brighter future, specifically for the next generation. I think today is incredibly important. We have to take care of today. We have to take care of what we have. But if we want to be forward-thinking and look to the future, that all starts with today. So if elected, one of the first things that I would want to do is treat this job the same way that I would treat my business in building custom homes. First thing that I want to do with everyone that I meet is I want to talk about your hopes and dreams. We start there for a very specific reason. We'll get to your specific needs and your budget, but first of all, I want to know what your hopes and dreams are so that I know what the goal is. In other words, if we want a brighter future, what's the goal? Why are we even doing this? We can learn so much about that, and the priorities that I find within the business is if I don't ask that first, if I come in, take charge, and simply start to build. We have a budget, we can stay within the budget, but once again, if we get down that road and I haven't, first of all, listened to what you really want, what you really need, then all we do is we just build another house. And at the end of that, where our budget is done, we've run out of money, and then we can't meet the needs. If we start the other way around, we know clearly what the goal is up front. We want to meet every one of those needs. We want to do it within budget, but we want to move forward. I would hope that we could do that within our county government also. In order to do that, the first thing that I would want to do is I would want to get out and speak with the people of District 2. District 2 is probably the most diverse district within the county. It includes subdivisions, it includes Juniata, Kennesaw, Prosser, Hanson. Very difficult. We also have industries back in the Menards area, and we have farms scattered throughout that community. So trying to communicate the hopes and dreams, the needs of all those people would be a priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Hannah, I'll have you bring your microphone down just a little bit there. Thank you. And now your turn for, if elected, what your priorities are for Adams County.
My main priorities, kind of like what John was touching on, are to just essentially be a listening ear for the community. There's a lot of things that go on in these meetings between road management, the county budget, zoning, and you just really need to take it all in and make choices that will affect positive change in the community. I think it's been a little too much of voting yes across the board at every single meeting. I think there's room to table some discussions and be able to get some more research into these decisions that are being made on a daily basis, and I hope to bring that to the table.
Thank you very much. And Marvin, your priorities for the county.
I think my priority is public safety, education, and economic development. Not necessarily in that order, but they all kind of feed each other. The education, we need to educate our children well to face the future. Public safety, we all want to feel safe. I think we're blessed here that for the most part, it's a safe part of the country to live in. Economic activity is what fuels the fire, so to speak, of generating the dollars needed for those things. I don't feel that Adams County is in a terrible state and is horrible and everything is miserable. I think it's well cared for in the past. I hope to carry that forward, take care of things. Is there room for improvement? Sure there is. There's always room for improvement. Are there financial challenges? Yes, there are. There's been financial challenges for many, many years before. There'll be financial challenges ahead of us. There's always going to be decisions to be made. So just bring my ideas, discussions to keep things moving forward in a positive way, but not to get negative and taxes, things like that. We do need to try to control the taxes as we go forward.
Thank you very much. Hannah, you're up first on this next question. What do you consider the biggest challenge for Adams County, and how do you plan to address it?
I think, to be a little specific with it, I've gone around and spoken with some community organizations like the Juniata Fire Department and the Kennesaw Fire Department, and they've kind of expressed to me, and I agree, that one of the challenges, at least for them, is some of the conditions of these county roads, and they need to be maintained. They need to be able to effectively transport people and themselves and their vehicles and equipment in emergencies, and I think that's one of the first things that I would focus on if elected.
Thank you. Marvin, the biggest challenge for Adams County and how you plan to address it?
I would agree. The roads, bridges, right now on the 1- and 6-year plan in Adams County, there's over 20 bridges that have been identified as in need of repair or replacement. It's a huge challenge to say where's the funds going to come for that. How do you prioritize them? I'm not sure what the answer is there. There's going to definitely be some tough choices made. There has been previously. I think there's going to be some more ahead with just the sheer dollars involved with to go in and do all those things, and roads and bridges and infrastructure. Time is not on your side. Eventually everything's going to need updated, upgraded, replaced. So got to try to look for some dollars from the state level, maybe the federal level, some grants, some creative ways to maybe get some of these infrastructure things taken care of in a satisfactory manner so that we can move on to the next thing, because there will be a next thing. I think that getting the jail up and running and everything smoothed out there is going to be an interesting process in the next year to year and a half. We got it built, it's ready to go. Start filling it up, and there'll be some challenges with all of that. So,
thank you. John, biggest challenge for Adams County?
Obviously, infrastructure's already been mentioned, but it's critical within the community, especially an ag community. Roads and bridges are definitely important. They're definitely a struggle because of the limited budget. The real problem is it's the prioritizing. How do we do that? How do we balance that again in a county the size of Adams County with small communities, with Hastings at the center of that, trying to figure out how do we meet all those needs and equally serve the corners of the county as well as Hastings, which is the center, obviously. How would I do that? Much like business, I tend to be very forward-thinking. I find my days go much better if I have already anticipated. Each day will have new problems, but if we're prepared for that, if we think ahead, it's a lot easier to address that. In other words, what might be the issues today? I've thought about the possibilities ahead of time. It makes it easy to come up with answers. If elected, I would choose to be optimistic. I think we have the choice every day to see the roadblocks and to concentrate on the roadblocks, or we can concentrate on opportunities. We can look for new ways. I find if I'm sitting at a railroad track, if I know what's on the other side, it's a lot easier to be either patient or to drive around. If I know there's something positive on the other side, in other words, the goal, what's the goal? How do we want to get there? Again, within the community, I think it starts with focus, knowing the goals and focusing on them. Focus leads to results, period. If we don't know where we're going and why we want to get there, it's difficult to get there. I think I'm out of time.
Thank you very much. Marvin, we'll start with you on this next question. What is the role of an Adams County Commissioner in economic development?
I think at the county commissioner level, you have to be ready to be a partner with the economic development groups and be willing to support those efforts. There's a lot of, when I was on the board in Juniata, there's a lot of grants and loans and things like that available for different projects. And one of the things that we had in Juniata was we had a business that had went out and pursued a block grant and was successful to create some jobs, to buy some equipment to expand. And our role on the board was to support them in that. The dollars came from the state. They had to flow through our entity to like oversight of that. And then once the dollars flew back through, then we had this pot of money that we could pursue other businesses, other entities to kind of recycle that money. And it went from a manufacturing business in Juniata, Nebraska, buying a press and creating 6 jobs to that money recycled to a grocery store in Kennesaw that's there today. And some other small things, but just to help facilitate, be a partner in that is the role.
Thank you. John, role of a commissioner in economic development.
Within economic development in Adams County, first of all, I think as a commissioner, we need to know what the heartbeat of Adams County is. The heartbeat of Adams County clearly is agriculture. So we need to, first of all, we need to preserve and protect what is our lifeblood. For our farms, obviously, business is an industry that produce ag products, ag equipment. We want to encourage, we want to support those. Agriculture continues to evolve, if you will. The amount of equipment, the use of equipment, all those things, we have to also support those companies, those industries that are making those products, because they also need to be diverse if they're going to continue to be relevant and be competitive. We need to bring in new industries, obviously. Value-added products, in other words, ethanol industries, things like that, support farmers, but they also support our community. We obviously need to be aware of that and support those. How do we do that? Honestly, I think first we need to, again, recognize the agriculture market, but then we also have to be honest that ag markets are volatile, extremely volatile. They have been, they will continue to be. So we also need to concentrate on being diverse. Diversity means strong businesses that aren't related directly to those market prices. That on a bad year of ag, we're going to have another strong industry or business. How do we bring in those types of businesses if they want to expand, they want to grow? First of all, I think we have to know what we have. For Adams County, I think that means our strengths. We have to present Adams County as a viable alternative for those companies. Hastings started in 1972 at the junction of two railroads. We have a lot going for us. We have two railroads. We have Highway 6. We have Highway 281. We have two electric plants, gas, water, all those things that we need. So we need to sell and promote that.
Thank you very much. Hannah, role of the Commissioner in Economic Development.
I think the main role of a commissioner in economic development is to analyze and adopt the budget. It's to promote new business in town. I think we hear a lot of slack about that here lately, especially on social media and public forums that no new businesses come in. I think that myself and my husband kind of can attest to the opposite of that. And I think that we also need to nurture the businesses that are already established and help them grow as well and expand. And really just forge partnerships among the community and encourage growth.
Thank you. John, we will start with you on this next question. Collaboration is important to seeing growth and success. What is your strategy to encourage collaboration and partnerships as we look to grow Adams County?
As I've thought about this, I'm not a huge fan of big government. I think we need to specialize, do what we do well. I think there's obviously a need to work with other entities around us. In order to do that, I think it needs to be really clear what the goal is, first of all, making sure that the goal is appropriate for the county, meaning that it doesn't lean itself too heavily towards Hastings when we need to reach the entire county. So I think collaboration's a good thing, but it's also, as a commissioner, I would ask a lot of questions. Why? Because I would be representing District 2. Within Adams County, we have 7 districts. 5 of those commissioners live within or extremely close to Hastings. So Hastings is very well represented. When it comes to collaboration, I would want to make sure that District 2 has a representation that would also include Kennesaw or farms on the outskirts of the county, and that they were being equally represented when we considered working with another entity. Otherwise, I think we concentrate unfairly on one area. Again, I think it's a great thing. I just think it needs to be looked closely at and ask a lot of questions. Again, if clearly the goal is the people making things better, equally serving the county, then I'm totally in favor of that. But I would be cautious.
Thank you. Hannah, your strategy to encourage collaboration and partnerships.
I think that there's already a lot of established fantastic groups among the community that do a great job of communicating between themselves. I hope to encourage that and keep that going. I think that there's a way that as commissioners we can get together and apply for grants at the state and even national level to encourage growth. I think there's a lot of opportunity with the growth expansion in the area, but I do think John is right that we do need to focus on areas like Juniata and Kennesaw and make sure that any of this funding or this growth is approached with them as well.
Thank you very much. And Marvin, your strategy to encourage collaboration and partnerships.
Through this whole process of running for this office, I've met with I went to the fire department meetings, the village board meetings. I've been out to eat dinner in town, and people have approached me. And the big thing, that, especially in District 2, as John said, there is, because the population is centered in Hastings, there's a lot of the county commissioners from Hastings live in Hastings, and those people out in the smaller communities really do feel underrepresented. So I'd like to try to bridge that gap of being present, hearing them, bringing that back to the board. And, you know, there's a lot of opportunities out there in those small communities for small businesses, and that could grow into bigger businesses. So try to bridge that gap by just being present and hearing those people and bringing that back. Because I think that's been a big gap for a while, that they're, to quote one of the people, I don't like my county so much right now. And it's more of I pay taxes and I'm not represented, or I don't feel like I have a voice. And I would hope that we could address that and get them to feel like they are more represented.
Thank you very much. For our final question, Hannah, we will start with you. To conclude our time together, what more would you like the audience to know about you as a candidate for Adams County Commissioner?
I think the main takeaway I would hope people would have from this is that I'm not in this for personal gain. I'm not doing this for any reason except to give back to the community that's welcomed me. And to further that point, I have pledged the salary that comes with the position to different groups and organizations in the community, from the Juniata Fire Department to Kennesaw Fire Department to Start Over Rover to Teammates to Mentoring Works to United Way, Catholic Social Services, and Adams Central School Foundation as well.
Thank you. Marvin, what more would you like the audience to know about you?
In closing, I would say I'd do my best to represent the people, the county, and really that's all I can do. Bring the ideas, the fresh faces, and see what happens.
Thank you. And John, what more would you like the audience to know?
I'd like to just, I guess, end the same way that I started, that I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be, to live in Adams County, to grow up on a family farm. Adams County is much of who I am. I can't imagine living anywhere else. So you get to this point in life and you see the value of giving back. Again, I look at children and grandchildren, and I want those same things that I enjoyed to be, not only be there, but to be one step better for the next generation. So I think it's important for us to ask that question once in a while. What's my hopes and dreams? What are my goals for Adams County, for my community, for the part of Adams County that I'd live in? If elected, I would love to listen to those hopes and dreams and use the skills that I have acquired over 35 years of business to, again, to serve residents, businesses, farms, industries, with the clear goal of a brighter future for Adams County, a brighter future for tomorrow, for generations to come, so that they can one day say, I'm blessed to live in Adams County. I can't imagine living anywhere else. Thank you.
Thank you all for your time and your efforts. I'll throw it back to Shannon.
Great. Yes, I agree. Thank you to the candidates for your comment today. Next Friday, May 10th, is our final candidate coffee event for Adams County Supervisors Districts 4 and 6. We want to thank the airport for hosting again in this beautiful venue, and just is set up perfectly for us. Thanks to Troy with the coffee. Again, if you haven't had some, there's definitely a little left in the back for you. And Chris, wonderful job as always. Chris does a great job for us. This event has been recorded and will be made available on Hastings Public Access shortly. A reminder that on our website at hastingschamber.com, right on the homepage, there's a link to election information. It's going to have all the candidates, all their contact information, and all of the local media that has been done. We wanted to get that all in one spot for you. So we encourage you also to get out and vote. Early voting has begun, primary election May 14th. And again, the candidates will be here if you'd like to ask further question or have comments. So again, thanks for joining us today.